once again. This time, my friends, for another meet and greet. We're Southern Fried and nationwide, so hang on to your seat. Look around, here's what I found. I guess you'll never know what you'll see on the Southern Fried Podcast Show. Yeehaw!
Yeehaw.
Good morning, Southern Fried Podcast and Cornbread Nation. It's Friday. You have made it. We've gone through Monday and Hump Day. Now it's Friday. Congratulations. How's Dave this morning?
I'm good on a Friday. Glad to be here.
All right. Are you feeling any better from Wednesday?
I just felt puny for a little bit that Tuesday night.
Yeah.
I mean, it rolled into that morning, but I got better through the day.
Well, good. Well, good.
Flu shot.
Those are never any fun.
Well, I didn't even get a sore arm. I just felt a little puny.
Okay. Well, we've got, Tyreman and I, we were talking about the weather forecast and stuff like that, and between two different ones. AccuWeather's got it today at 64% chance of rain down here in South Georgia. And this other one has it at 23%. That's still a big difference between the two. What are you going to do if it doesn't rain either one? You don't know. And they're both wrong.
Yeah, you don't know. It'll be a beautiful day here. Around 80, partly cloudy. Next few days, solid.
That's about the way.
By next Friday, we'll be in the 40s at night.
Oh, no. Dude, that's wintertime.
Well, it's right. It's 49.
Wow. 40s is kind of cool.
Good morning to those coming in on X. Happy Friday to you. Hope things are going well in your corner of this earth.
Absolutely. Looks like we fixed to dip down in the 70s here for too long down here for the highs.
Yeah, so that's what we'll be after today. Pretty much the same.
Starting to turn the corners. On Monday, we got Tuesday, we got 87 and 86. That's not any fun. But it's better than 97 and 96. By far.
Without a doubt.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you what, I've got some stuff I've got to go take care of. Dave, I'll see you here.
Oh, went early. Shout out to Atlanta Falcons, who pulled off a late game or overtime victory. And I actually fell asleep on it. I don't remember the last time the Falcons or the quarterback for the Falcons has had over 500 yards passing. It was amazing game against a really good Tampa Bay team, and it was amazing to watch. I really enjoyed the game. It was hard. I thought the defense was going to give it up there a little bit, but they came back and won. Hopefully, Rob will be back here in a minute. Also, a shout out to all those in recovery. Amazing videos coming in from those who are getting Wi-Fi back, as they said. Those who had taken videos of rescues, houses being washed away, just tragic. A lot of collection points along our route going that way with supplies. There's been a lot of private-owned helicopters and stuff like that are coming in and helping out and getting supplies dropped in to areas that are inaccessible. I saw a prayer vigil and I don't know if you're familiar with the Impact Plastics plant. My plant manager had mentioned it. I think Monday or Friday one. I think it was Monday, and it might have been last Friday, but it was actually Monday. I'm sorry, it was Monday, and they were talking about some of the employees that got trapped, and they were sadly some of them got washed away in the flood. Very tragic, just tragic. They had a prayer vigil, kind of remembrance of those folks. Very, very sad. Seen another plant, a flyover, and look, just like they were getting back in, but it looks like it was a huge facility in Black Mountain, which I've mentioned before, is an area that I've been and my family actually was from a long, long, long time ago, and that was interesting to see that flyover and just see I guess you'd say the mud and the water and stuff everywhere. So very, very interesting, scenes and stuff, and how they're starting to get some of that roads back open. It's going to take a long time, but shout out to them. Shout out to those who have been going up in those areas and helping people rebuild, actually, just doing what they can, being a blessing, having the compassion and prayer and everything, just hiking in with, some places you can't drive into, just hiking in with boots on and shovels in hand and just saying, how can I help? And amazing videos. Sad situations. It will be something that'll be talked about for generations especially in those areas. Total devastation in some. And I was listening, I was not listening, but I was reading the movie The Keeper. They had released information about the movie, or the Appalachian Trail, which obviously the movie centers around. And there's some areas that are going to be inaccessible for weeks, months, and maybe even years. That along that trail, there's no access point. Some of those trails are just destroyed, and they'll have to clean all that up. So just devastating. And so actually George Eshelman had forwarded that out, the movie, the movie's about, and it's hard to read. And I know he's on those trails, like many other hundreds of thousands have walked the Appalachian Trail, and just horrible. It's going to take a long time. I was talking to some truck drivers who had just rolled through Augusta, Georgia. You don't hear that mentioned, but the devastation there is pretty bad. I don't know if they lost any lives there, but they were talking about how bad it was. And I didn't realize that area got hit that hard. Areas of course, they're on over South Carolina. There was, there was issues. So yeah, there is some FEMA stuff that's come in. I saw C-130 that had came into Asheville Airport and was delivering supplies. There was some Air National Guard that had rescued some people. I saw video or pictures of that, people and animals and stuff, and getting them out of there. There was some power restored in some areas, and people were thanking the linemen and the hard work they do. There was some, and there's some, you've seen me and Rob on here talk about with my sister in Nevada, and there were some people, linemen from Nevada, headed over to Georgia. So they come from all over the country. Thank you to those linemen. What a blessing. It's just the strike is, I said over, but I think they may be coming back after some time. They got some things. I think they pushed some things off. I've heard, they said it was over, but then I heard suspended. So they got but that's good news, however, that the ports are open back up, or will be open back up today. I guess I don't know when exactly that goes in effect, but we don't need any disruption, any of those things. Pray for the elections. Talk to some of the election poll workers. They just did a shout out yesterday to their team, and it was fixing to gear up. Tar man who comes in here, he's be willing to help anybody in Georgia that's elderly and needs a little help with their absentee ballot. He said he'd be glad to do that. We appreciate him being willing to do that. It's going good, my friend. It's going good. The day is going good. Getting ready to go to work here shortly after the show. Hope you're doing well, whatever area that you are coming from in our chat. So we appreciate that. Good weekend of sports. If you're a sports fan, Georgia's playing Auburn. I'm looking forward to Georgia's got to get back on the winning ways, and Auburn's trying to get a win. It's always the oldest state, the college football's oldest rivalry, or something like Deep State, Deep South, oldest rivalry. Back in the 1890s, I think it was that matchup. It's always usually a very close game, and usually the road team, traditionally the road team played better. So we'll kind of see how that goes. Georgia needs to get a win. They was winning, but that one, they can't have another one. If they want to stay in the hunt for a playoff spot, they have to. Alabama's going to win a lot of games, so that won't hurt them that way. But they're going to have a lot of help there. Check this. Somebody sent me a website, just making sure. But yeah, man, I'm doing good. I watch some soccer, I have, it's not a sport that I have watched a lot. I won't lie, but because I would look very, let's send a message here. Check on Rob. Hope all is good. I've watched some soccer, and we do have a thriving soccer team in our area that has come on board and enjoy right here in the Chattanooga area. It is growing. With no doubt in our area, and a lot of the kids play soccer. There's huge matchups in Atlanta, and it is growing in popularity. Of course, we always like football down here as for traditional American football, but concussions and stuff are scaring people. A lot of their kids are getting, some kids are not getting into it anymore. They're getting into other sports. So most of the times, around here, they're getting into sports they can get a scholarship off of, or, something like that. So help them with college. And so, yeah, what team you like? What team you like? Which team you pull for? It gets intense. I was in Atlanta once, and the World Cup was going on, and it wasn't the final, but it was the play. It was in the World Cup, and I walked in a restaurant, and it just exploded as I walked in. It was a Mexican restaurant. I think I was just getting something to go. No, we might have went in at 8. That's been years ago, and everybody was in their favorite shirt. Mexico was in the World Cup, and they had scored a goal when I walked in. Manchester United, familiar with them. Followed the rock group Def Leppard for years, and they like Sheffield United, and I think they're called. But you hear, they're huge fans of soccer, so you get a lot of soccer talk when they're talking. In fact, I think one of the guys could have maybe been a professional player, but he decided to go music way. But he was very talented. Got some friends that like rugby. If you like rugby, that's a good thing too. I like I still like baseball. I still like, go to work, make some money. It's nice talking to you. Come in again. We appreciate you, and you have a nice day as well. And go Manchester United. We'll root them on. It's good to have folks in, and I'll throw that up on the screen. But we appreciate you coming in this morning. Yeah, I got to go to work myself. The Friday work, and then get the weekend. Of course, I do a little bit of work on the weekend, do some church, and look forward to that. Thanks for your support of Southern Fried Podcast and all that come in, and we appreciate that. It is good to be alive and well and kicking on a Friday, and appreciate that, son. It brought me some drink, and hope that you are well in your corner of the world. If you got good weather, I hope it's good for you and good through the weekend. It's a great time of weather. This is a good time of year. There's actually some festivals going on this weekend. It's that time of year, fall festivals and stuff like that. I may visit at 1 in the morning. It's a different it's a first time festival. I thought about going down and getting some interviews, and we'll see how that goes. If we do, we'll get those out on Monday. But it's that great time of year to do those festivals and get out and get the family out. Go do some of those things. There's a lot of farms and stuff that do. We're getting closer to Halloween, so there's a lot of fall festivals. People going out to farms picking their pumpkins, and hay rides, that kind of stuff. If you like that, that kind of thing. But it's a good time. It's good. Corn mazes, that becomes picked up this time of year. If that's your thing, to go out and corn maze, don't get lost. Usually you can find your way out within an hour in most of them. But yeah, go and I get a chance to ask him what kind of work to do. It's good to work. Awesome. I do want to do a shout out to a city. Didn't know if it was my date or not. I couldn't remember. I think Rob did one the other day. And so I have one called Greasy Corner, Arkansas. Shout out to them. And there you see on the eastern side of the state. And I've ate some greasy spoons. So Greasy Corner, I'm not sure how they got their name. I didn't get a chance to research that, but there's a couple. There's one called Greasy. There's another state that has a town called Greasy. This is Greasy Corner, and sounds like my kind of place. Saw some old top housing there, plantation top and stuff, and I'm not sure how much they have, but in some of the images I was able to see some of that. So shout out to Greasy Corner, Arkansas. And got the chance to travel through there many years ago. It's a beautiful state. I basically went through the center of the state, kind of right through there, probably maybe a little south of there. I'm not sure. In that general area. I didn't know Greasy Corner was there, or I would have stopped in. But I traveled across the states, traveling across several states, and kind of rode pretty right near Little Rock, and kind of through that area. But if you live in Greasy Corner or from there or been there, whatever, shout out to them, and salute to you this morning from the Southern Pride Podcast. It's something we do here, and doing a shout out, and we just appreciate our little small corners of the world. However they got their names. Some places get names that are not even official. It's just that some people call them that out of just because it's a local thing, and they'll call it by a different name. Small areas especially, they'll just have a nickname for it. Some areas get a name that's not official, but that's what everybody calls it because it's not a town or something. It's not even a township or anything like that. It gets to be called something like that. I also want to give a shout out to, and I'll put it up on the screen, Miss Stephanie Harity. I noticed she did her town hall. Remember, we had her on for an interview. She was great. And running down there in that second district of the county there around Bainbridge, Decatur. And I didn't get a chance to watch all of them. I'm going to go back and do that. It was a live town hall, and I saw some good comments for that. She's getting very, very busy. Seen her I friended her on Facebook and I've seen a lot of things pop up on her campaign trail. So good luck to you, Miss Stephanie. I don't know if you can catch this, but we appreciate you coming on again. You didn't have to do that, and we appreciate that you was willing to do that and come on with us and let us talk a little bit about your campaign and learn a little bit about you and small business owner and someone who says, "Hey, I want to do my part. I want to be a good citizen." Appreciate those folks that step up. It's not easy to run for office. You get attacked, and in this day and time, you get attacked pretty hard by some. There's some people just live for that. And I'm not talking about holding people accountable or anything. I'm just talking about people that are what do they call it, what's the word I'm looking for, when they call the law out. And I know I can't think of that word. And they false claim there's someone in trouble, someone being injured or held captive, or someone threatening with a gun or whatever, and they call the police out. Somebody hit me with that, throw it in the chat, but I went blank. But you know what? That's horrible. And then their kids get attacked, ugly things said to them, and they leave the kids alone. Whether you like their politics or not, leave the kids alone. But some people are just mean. They're just mean, and they reach out and they say dirty things and horrible things to people, and it's just let me should give this a quick message. But yeah, pray for politicians. Even if you don't like their politics, pray for them. It gets ugly in America, maybe around the world, but pray for them. Pray for those folks. I mean, they step up, and that goes for a lot of things. That's like your poll workers or whatever. They're just doing a job, and they're not there to make your day any more difficult. If there's problems with something, they're just trying to do a job, and they're not trying to, do anything wrong. There's officials you can talk to and make sure that if there's a question you have that you don't feel like they're answering, there's always those people that you can talk to. But, that could be the corner convenience store, and treat those people right. I was at a place yesterday, and just to drive through, and I went through, and the lady was real nice, and I was just thinking about her situation. Did she have kids, and how hard she was working, and she was very kind, and a smile goes a long way, and I was encouraging her to have a great day, and thankful, and it ended on a real positive note. And I just thought about how many people may pull through that drive-through and give that lady a hard time, when she's just trying to do a job. It's hard to work through the window. It's hard to do that. I feel so bad for people that have to endure that. And people that do I don't think they mean to, but inconsiderate things like leaving their windshield wipers on when it's pouring down rain. I was traveling through West Virginia one time. There's a couple of toll roads up there. This is early in the morning. I was headed to a church, and there was a toll booth there, and there was one guy. He was in there by himself. It's pouring down rain, and I was the only car on the highway. It was like a $7 thing to pass through the toll, and I got up to the booth there, and I cut my windshield wipers off, and he's giving me a funny look, and I thought I had never been in that area, so I thought maybe I was doing something wrong. And he said, "You're not from around here, are you?" And I said, "Well, no, I'm from Georgia. I'm traveling through. I got one more mile to go, and I'm speaking at a church up here." It was like a monsoon coming down, and the guy said, "Well, I just want to say I appreciate you for turning your windshield wipers off." He said, "Most people right here, they're inconsiderate and they're rude, and they hit their keep them on." He said, "I get soaked," and he said that was the first thing I noticed before you pulled up. You turned them off. So I just use it as an example. When we meet, talk to the public, we go to a restaurant or something, drive through. Yes, those people ain't there for your punching bag, And I'm sure people listening to Southern Fried Podcast wouldn't do that, but there's a lot of people who do, and I just try to brighten somebody's day when I go through their line or whatever, because I always figure there's probably before me, there's probably been at least within the last 10 people a jerk, and I'm just trying to lighten their day. So poll workers, politicians, whoever they may be, give them consideration, respect, even if you don't agree with them. They're not there to be your punching bag.
Yeah. Well, tell you what, I don't know how it is in North Georgia right now, but there's definitely some rudeness going on here in South Georgia. And it's in the shape of ragweed, goldenrod, every type of nasty fall flower that produces pollen is full steam right now. And I am miserable.
Yeah,
And
we had a nice soccer fan to come in the chats this morning, rooting for Manchester United. That was through Twitch. First time I think we had someone through there, so I'm not sure exactly where they're from. Didn't get a chance to ask, but appreciate them coming in this morning. And I don't know if you saw our city today, Greasy Corner, Arkansas, was the shout out.
Greasy Corner. How many people there?
I didn't get a chance to check. I was kind of in a rush and realized I hadn't done that. So I was trying to pull them up.
Let's see. Greasy
Corner, Arkansas.
Corner. There it is. My goodness.
Greasy Corner. St. Francis County.
Wow. Population 70.
70 brave souls.
You'd have to be living in a town called Greasy Corner. You know the restaurants there have some really good food.
Like I said, I told them I've probably been in a few places like that. Been in some greasy spoons, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. My goodness.
That's the kind of place you get a bowl of chili that'll melt your spoon.
Yeah, no doubt. You go to eat it and you're nibbling on the end of the handle. Well, what you think about that old dock strike now?
Well, they've suspended it. I don't think it's over. I think it's suspended until for 65 days, something like that. I read they got a big increase in money in that, but I think there's still issues to work out. But I think leaders got together and realized if you continue this strike, Americans are going to turn against you quickly because there's too much suffering going on right now for you to be trying to make their life even harder. And these companies that may need parts or things that from overseas that they're trying to rush in as quick as they can to replace damaged stuff. Some of that stuff's made in Europe and Italy, and it takes a while to get there anyway, but they may be putting a big rush on it. I'm just saying it's not a good time to be on a strike on the docks. And I think they probably felt some heat even from their own support.
I'd say so.
I mean, you can make a point, and people can appreciate your point, but if you're making their life miserable, they're not going to be your friend for long. They're not going to support you on that. And those anyway, whatever reason they did it, I'm just glad they got back to work.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not getting paid a fair wage and everything that you have is, not in a good situation, we want to support you doing what you need to do. But, I don't know, they hadn't had raises in a while, but my goodness, there's a lot going on right now for someone that wasn't very well planned out. I don't think. Not right now.
Well, their contract did run out that time, but they could have held off on that. They could have worked that out.
Mm-hmm.
It was just they already had it planned before the storm. I'm sure for that. I'm not saying they just dreamed that up right then, but you just got to in times of national emergency, natural disasters. Some things have to be put to the side. Even sometimes some laws are put to the side. Things are rushed up because the need overrides the whatever the situation is. That's like dropping, even during COVID, well, that's controversial. There were some things that were set aside to speed things up. And I know that's controversial, and we'll go down that road, but I would just say that the normal long wait for FDA approval and stuff like that was set aside.
Wow.
Because it can take as much as 10 years to get FDA approval on new things. So I know people that's controversial, but these people, there's at least, I don't know, there's probably 6 to 8 states, maybe 10 that are 6 to 8 that are really bad. That's a lot of people. I mean, it's going to take years. They're not going to get things fixed. They're going to get the basics open, the interstates, the main highways. There's these people. There's whole areas that are just gone. It's going to impact tourism. It's going to impact the hiking and camping and
it's going to
all
impact
that.
The families as well. What is there, like 220 dead now? Or 220 something?
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if I don't go over 1,000.
I mean, they're still looking for people, that may never be found. Let's face it. I mean, they're just gone. And think of all the families. You take 220 something people out of the equation, and how many families did you just disrupt? And loved ones that are gone. They can't be replaced.
Well, there's companies that are going to be missing employees. There's jobs going to have to be filled, retraining, jobs that are going to be down for a long time. The total loss in some of those factories and stuff in those areas. Sometimes the whole structure, or just the flooding that will destroy the electronics, the goods that were on the floor, however high it got. Schools impacted. This is going to it's going to take a major help for a long time, and our country is going to have to invest in those areas, and not be sending so much overseas. If they don't, they're just going to have to do it.
Yeah.
Americans
what about
first.
this? There's one story that's coming out of there that's really, really upsetting, and something that I really, really didn't like. About the plastic company, and I got this off of another major news network, but and Fox is where it came from. Was it Impact? I don't want to call the name. It's a plastic company.
It's Impact Plastics, and they had a visual there yesterday, a live video of a prayer. They had employees that were swept away.
Yeah.
From the parking lot of the company.
Yeah.
I heard our company talked about that just at our plant, just remembering those folks. And
yeah, that's got to be, the company's trying to meet orders and stuff like that. And to be fair, who expected this up there? I mean, they said it could be bad, but my goodness, who expected this?
Well, that's one of those things where, as a company, a facility, you have to. I mean, it's not an easy call of because you get Monday morning quarterback when to make the call. In that case, because they never saw it before. I mean, we don't know. Maybe they should have called that earlier. That's something they're going to have to look at, and then look at the protocols for sending people home, because they were trying to get out of there, but some of them didn't make it.
There was one gentleman said some guy came by on a 4-wheel drive and picked him up. Otherwise, he'd probably been one of them too. All the ones that were left, so they were working together trying to get out of there. But and to be honest, it probably happened real quick. Floodwaters come up quick usually. And when that happens, especially up there in the area that they're in with all the mountains and the valleys, and that water's got to go somewhere. It's going to go somewhere. You're not going to stop it. So,
well, even if you made a decision to say 5 more minutes, that 5 minutes could be the time between life and death.
Really, you know, that's a horrible situation. They're investigating. I don't want to point any fingers at anybody on that, because that is so. It's heartbreaking. Number one, you don't want to take a heartbreak and turn it into a finger pointing thing. Should they have got them out sooner? Should they have even been working there? Don't know. Can't make that call.
Well, and anybody can make. I mean, they're not prisoners. Anybody can make the call to say, "I'm going home." And I realize that as a company, you don't want to get in trouble. If you say, that's the way it is in any company. If you say, I live on a hill, there's ice on the roads, or getting on the roads, I got to go. No, they can't make you stay. You go. Right. Whether that becomes, and they have to work that out on an individual basis. If they don't shut the plant down, whether it's a point or an absence or a tardy or whatever they call it. Yeah. They did, at some point you do need to shut down a place and go home, but we don't know the protocols. We don't know who all was in the decisions on that, or if they even knew fully what was going on. That's just had to be investigated. I wouldn't want to be a part of it. Sad.
Yeah, that is sad.
I mean, there's going to be lawsuits. I'm sure that's what happens for those people that lost their lives. Their families will, it's just one of those things.
Feel bad for the company in a way, because, that's going to make it harder on them. But, I don't know.
Well, I think there was like 15 people that were left, and like five of those got out, and the rest,
Yeah.
So, I mean, they were trying. I just, like I said, it's a hard call, and it can happen so fast. Like, conditions can change really fast.
Absolutely.
I don't think there's a company out there that hasn't had people at some point in their history that kind of they got maybe a little bit too late of, maybe making that call.
Well,
because nobody wants to be that person that gets in trouble for making the call too early, or if it never was even needed. If they're afraid they're going to get in trouble, or, it'll ruin their career even.
Well,
I think it's one of those things you need to get on the phone with somebody and say, listen, we got a situation. You wake people up and say, I think everybody needs to go home. And if they figure out, if they find out somebody, executives did that, said, no, you keep them there, you keep it going, then that's on them.
Yes. And that may have been what happened. We don't know. I mean, somebody could have called and say, hey, look, I'm concerned about the health and welfare of our employees here. This is getting bad. We need to do something. I need to send them home. I need to get them out of here. Or
it might take a few minutes to get them out of bed. It might have said, hold on, I'm waiting on them to call me back. They said, hold on, I'm going to call you right back. Let me check on this. They called back. It's 5 minutes later. They said, absolutely, send everybody home. By that 5 minutes, that water could have been up. There's a lot of scenarios that could have happened. So, and nobody meaning to hurt anybody. So
exactly. So, and they're going to assume the best in that bad situation. I think that's the best way to go about it.
And some people are going to judge. You're going to be judged on that no matter what decision you make. I've been in churches before it was decided we needed to close the service down and go home due to whatever. I've been in many different situations. There's always going to be that one or two people that look, that act like you're somehow now from hell because you decided to close the service due to weather or whatever. I've been there, and I made the right call when the tornadoes that hit Ringo, and I canceled service, and I felt like people was like judging me on that. And so I'm not going to be responsible for your lives trying to get to and from church during this kind of tornadic activity.
Yeah.
I said, if nothing happens, we're still okay. Pray at home, do service at home. There's nobody stopping you from having worship service. You can still have worship service at home. But I know that there were people that thought I was being, less than manly or something, or less than faithful or whatever, because I did that. Then later when they saw the damage and stuff, there was never another question about it.
No.
It could have just as easily went the other way, and it could not have been a leaf drop off a tree. I didn't care because I'd already been called by one of my members that was in another state and said, are you having church? I said, well, I was sitting here trying to make that decision right now. And they said, hey, man, I just canceled. It just came through here. It's bad. I said, okay, that's what I need to know. I was trending that way. I just wasn't sure because we don't have anything here right now. He said, it'll be there. He said, it'll be there in an hour.
Wow.
And it's bad. And I made the call. We had a phone tree, made the call. And at that time, I'm sure they looked out and said, well, he's an idiot.
Yeah. And then an hour later,
I could feel that. But then an hour later, when the F5 comes streaming through the area, nobody said a word.
well, that's one I'll never forget. I was trying to get in touch with all my folks that night, and I tried to get hold of Dad. And I talked to him before it hit. I said, it looks like this thing's going to be bad. I said, you okay? He said, yeah, I'm fine. Well, after it hit and I heard Ringo had been hit, I was like on the phone calling Dad, hey, he didn't answer.
Yeah.
I tried for about 15, 20 minutes. He never answered. So my godson came over and we threw stuff in the chainsaw and axe and stuff in the back of the truck. And we went up the interstate. And I figured if anything's going to be open, it's going to be the interstate. And the interstate, we made it about halfway between that back exit from Fort O onto the interstate going to Ringgold over the mountain there.
Yeah.
That's where it stopped. I mean, it just stopped. And so we sat up there for about 3 hours, and then Dad called me back. Oh, I'm fine. I'm doing this. Okay, well, I'm sitting on the interstate now. You could have answered your dad blame phone before I got here. But we spent 3 or 4 hours just sitting. It wasn't good. That whole thing was bad.
Yeah, there was death in that. In a wide area.
Yeah.
I spent an hour and a half on interstate once in a monsoon. And my wife, we all had to go to the restroom. We didn't know what was going on. We couldn't see it, but up ahead there had been a wreck and there was a fatality, so they closed the interstate down. It was just some of those things. Somebody tried to get over, didn't see the other person in the heavy rain, and whopped out. I think they were ejected from the car and it killed them, and then so we wasn't able to move.
I don't like that. Oh man. But there again, in the scriptures, we got no promises for tomorrow.
Nope.
Did I send you? I sent a couple of things out yesterday that I saw some different speakers on that I really, really liked. And I don't remember if I know I sent the one to you with Tim Watts's face over the babies, because I'd said I wanted to see Vance.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was funny. And the one with the guy with the, I think you sent it, the one with the guy with the measuring tape.
Yes, that was a good one. And
yeah, I like that.
Yes. The furthest distance in a church is from the head to the heart, right here, 12 to 14 inches. Said you can know everything up here, but unless it's in here, it ain't doing you no good. So, yeah, that was really powerful. And I saw another one, and this actually may be pertinent this morning with everything that's going on and all the struggles and all the storms in life that are going on. When he was talking about when Jesus, walked out on the water, and the disciples were in the boat, and he went by and he got them out. And a lot of preachers have preached on this, keep your eyes on the Lord, and that's a good message.
Amen.
That is a great message. Keep your eyes on the Lord. He said, but there's another record of this in Mark. And it said, when Jesus came walking across the water, it looked like he was going to walk past, and they called out to him. And you think about that. Now, here you are out here in the storm. It looks like he's fixing to walk by you, And the point that the preacher was making, and I didn't expect this from him, to be perfectly honest, because I judged him, and that's on me. But he didn't look the part. But the message that he brought was awesome. And I'm sorry that I judged him, but that was on me. But he said the reason why Jesus was going to walk past He'd already gave him a plan. The plan was in place. He said,
Yeah.
"You get in the boat. I'll meet you there. You go there. I'll meet you." That was the plan. You know, he didn't care about the storm. He didn't care about the winds and the waves. It's not necessarily that he didn't care. That wasn't his concern, but it was a part of his plan. And I'll
Amen.
meet you there. You know, and the guy, you know, of course, while he may have a plan, he still cared enough about them and us that he did stop. You know, he did care enough. He sees us. He knows us. He loves
Always.
us. So, you
Always.
know, when you take that into context like that, you know, why would he walk by? But he's got a plan. And all you people up, everybody up there, it's hard to see. We don't understand God's plan. We don't understand Jesus' plan. We don't understand it. It's not for us to understand. He's got us. And everything happens for a reason. And we love y'all, and we're so sorry that y'all are hurting and suffering. You know, but keep faith. God's got a plan. He'll meet you on the other side. So
There's a lot of blessings that are happening in the recovery, and there'll be stories
yeah,
out of that too. We don't understand everything. We live in a sin cursed world. Um, God didn't send the storm up there. He'll get you through it.
yes,
Because these
yes,
things are going to happen, and it's not for politicians to use and preach about climate change and all that.
no,
Politicians need to shut up. I mean, they really do. When you start that in the middle of a midst of a bunch of people hurting, you have lost me 150%. I don't care for nothing else that comes out of your mouth.
mm,
When in the middle of the disaster, you start going on about climate change or who should have a gun. I don't care. You have
no.
lost me 100%. I just will not listen to you at all.
And see,
If you want to have that discussion, it's America. You're free to have it later on. But when there's still people missing. There's communities
yeah,
broken and hurt, and you're up there, and shame on the moderators in the debate for even going there. Shame on them. But the question should be, as vice president, how would your administration help, and how are they going to help? That's the best question. How are they going to help in
mm,
these situations? How is your administration going to help right now? And JD Vance, how do you see things that as vice president you would like to see, or how would that? And they should have had a moment of reflection and silence for the disaster. That shows you how much they care.
yeah.
Zero. Zero.
And,
I was just saying, I don't care. There is
and
no time for this political debate with something like this going on about those kinds of issues. Of course, they want to throw it out there, or the tragedy of it, but then they try to use it for their own gain. I just don't want to hear it.
there's no common decency in that. There's no decency to it. You know, if you're gonna try to build a political statement off the death and suffering of others, you are scum. I hate to say it that way, but you're scum.
And by the
You
way,
are.
if any politician wants to, if they want to do the right thing, you put on your old clothes. Don't be dressing up in $60,000 necklaces or anything like high heels. Get your boots on. Get some old jeans on and a t-shirt and a hat and some gloves, and go out and help shovel mud, or serving a food line, or serving food, or helping at a distribution point or something like that, and don't have all the TV cameras there, uh, filming you on this perfect little thing. You're waiting for a cue. No, you go there and just say, I want to help. And I'm going to help. I'm going to dedicate today. I'm helping fellow Americans, and
Yeah,
you will gain a lot of respect with me.
yeah,
It's not a time for the photo op to go out there and plant people there to make it look like just go help. They don't
yeah,
need that. One of the greatest things I ever seen was during that tornado. Afterwards, we went over to to a city that got hit really hard. It was being neglected, honestly. There was a lot of people not even paying attention to it. And we took sandwiches and cold waters and stuff, or we went into places where nobody had been yet that we could get into and drive. They'd cleared some trees. People were working to save their property. And we didn't pull up with an agenda or anything. We just pulled up and said, would you like a sack lunch and a cold water? And it really hit people hard. And, you know, they got sweat pouring off of them. They're sitting there looking at, you know, their home in shambles, cars, you know, destroyed. And they said, you know, some of them said, you know, nobody's been here. We said, how do you know we were here? I said, we've just been riding around looking for somebody to help. But I went out on the highway, and there was somebody had in front of their home that was destroyed, and they're down there trying to pick up belongings. They had taken a big piece of plywood, and they propped it up, and it said something like, "We don't need you to come and stare at us. We need your help." Basically, is what it was saying. Because people were just coming by and getting video and pictures and then moving on. They said, we don't need that. We just leave. Either help or leave. I thought it was the greatest thing. This is true.
Too. That's awesome. And you know, when Ringo got hit, southbound traffic on the interstate was fine. But the gawkers and stuff driving up northbound just plugged it up. And they were just taking videos and pictures. Nobody really wanted to help. They just wanted pictures of the disaster.
Well, that happened in Western North Carolina. They put out messages and told people, in fact, the police have ran people out. They've closed roads off, and they stop the cars and they say, what are you doing here? And if you don't have a good enough reason to be in there, they tell you to leave. We don't need sightseers. They said they've had hundreds of sightseers trying to get in the area. The police have blocked them and said, no, leave. We got no roads. We got just no time for you to go take pictures. We're trying to get emergency personnel in, get people out, go home.
If you showed up there with a couple of chainsaws and an axe and some work clothes and some gloves, they went up there, they probably would have said, come on in.
That escorted you.
Yeah.
I mean, just some people, and it's so, you know, people are, because they want to get their social media content. And, you know, there's a time people want to see those pictures, but I don't want to go. I'm not going up to somebody's house where they're picking through trying to find baby pictures of their kid because everything else is gone. I'm not going up and doing video of that. I'm not doing it. I won't do it. I would not do that. And somebody who would do that while they're doing that is less than human to me.
Yeah.
You do not care.
Yeah. That's one of those cases.
That's the way I feel about it. Get out of the car, go pray with them, see if you can help them, buy them a meal, bring them food. So here, we're sorry.
Coming from the longest distance from the head to the heart.
Yeah.
They may have it in the head, but that's not in their heart.
Now, that one girl, I watched that video and she showed pictures, but she was showing pictures, of what they were dealing with, but they were trying to help. They were trying to get that guy's house cleaned out, shoveling mud and drywall, getting that out there, and how God was bringing people to them every step of the way that they needed. That's what I want to see. Y'all watch that all day long. And they never showed the guy like in front of his ruined house. I appreciate that too.
Yeah.
I hate that when people do that. It just sickens me that people would do that. But that'd be like showing up. That's like showing up at a disaster. And I saw that one time. I'll just say this and I'll move off the subject, but it just really sickens me. There was a guy got hit up in the road. He tried to cross the road one night, and it's right across from where I live, right there in the highway, right there in the turning lane. He was laying on the ground, and there was a nurse that stopped. There were people that stopped and was telling traffic to move. And I couldn't get up through there to turn on my road because it was all blocked. So I just pulled into the station. I didn't know what was going on. And I looked over and I see the guy on the ground. They're doing CPR. And so I just dropped my head and prayed. I saw that they had people directing traffic. The authorities were showing up. They were doing CPR. And he ended up dying. But I was sickened by what I saw. There were people that pulled in the station, a whole row of them. They just kept, and people would get out and they were getting pictures and video. Then they were doing selfies of the scene in their in their camera. Then they were getting in a car and moving on. It made me sick at my stomach to see that. The lack of compassion upon human beings in a scene of a guy. I mean, I imagine if I'm laying there and people are worried about getting a selfie more than they're worried about my life, you know?
Yeah.
And
that's horrible.
there was another guy that pulled over and he looked at me. He saw it too. And he looked at me and he just shook his head.
Yeah.
And I couldn't pull down my road. I just waited there and then I just prayed. And then finally they opened up some of it and I could go home, but there was nothing anybody could do. They put the sheet over him. Unfortunately, he was gone. And sad.
And I would like to make clear, like this lady's video that she put out yesterday. And she did some video there while she was there, but she was there working.
She was working.
And she was trying to draw attention to help. Say, okay, this is where we're at. But, she's working.
Get your shoes on.
I understand, right.
Get your boots on, get a shovel in your hand, and just go find somebody to help them.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
They're gawking and just trying to get the shock value of it. Somebody else is suffering. Boy, that's a dime I wouldn't ask nobody to pay.
I will say there's a couple of guys and they're funny and I can appreciate them. And I don't think it's real distasteful or anything. I think they're just trying to keep people lighthearted. And there's a couple of good old boys and they've shown videos and they started out like, it did hit where they were at, but they were saying, it's getting desperate times. We're going to have to eat the goat. And then they said, no, we're not going to eat the goat. He said, go help those in need. We're okay up here. We're going to be fine. He said, we're sorry to hear about that. He said, we're okay here. We just got to get some power back on. He said, if you got any beer, send beer. He said, we're good. I thought they were kind of funny. I think you need a little humor in the middle of stuff, and I think that's what they were trying to do. They're kind of funny, but they were still pointing people to go help those that were in need, because he said they had people show up. He's like, nah, we're good, man. Unless you got beer, bring us some beer. We're good. Go take the water to those folks who really need it. I can appreciate your humor. That's a good thing about Southern Americans. We learn how to cope and get through. And we have our times of laughter because we have to get through. You can't lose your humor and laughter and stuff in the midst of extreme tragedy. You just got to know when it's appropriate and when it's not.
Well, I before it hit down here, I made preparations because we're awfully close to the coast here. And I put up all these jars of water and I had them in my pantry in quart jars, because I ran out of stuff to really store it. And I thought, well, shoot, I got my can and stuff. So I just put a ring and lid on them, fill them up with water, put them in the pantry. I had water. I had a lot of water. I just now yesterday got the last of those jars emptied out and got them drying so I could put them up. And then we'll be, a week out? Let's get a few every day. But
if you need it.
Yeah. And, it's not just thinking about me. I got family that was up on the hill. My uncle's got 2 kiddos and they just had kiddos. And so we got newborns around and we got neighbors around. You want to put it back. If you don't need it, fine. But if you got more than what you need, somebody else may need it. So.
Yeah. And if that storm didn't shift, that what we're seeing could easily be in your area.
Yeah.
Total devastation. That's easy. If it had set over you and did 20, 25 inches of rain and all the mud and water, and it'd be the same thing.
It would be.
They might not have all the hills that they have, but it would have been, it's flat. It would have been.
But that water still got to go somewhere.
Got to go somewhere.
And that's what we were thinking we were going to get. So, but we
looking for high ground.
And I'm glad we got missed. My heart goes out to those that didn't. I can't imagine what they're going through right now. 200 and something, 220 something people already, and it's going to go higher. And there's just people that there'll be people they'll never find, or it'll be years down the road. And I hate that. I'm so sorry for y'all. And you're in our prayers very much.
I'd say there'll be some areas that won't be allowed to rebuild either. They're too
Yeah.
close to. I know that's a generational 100-year top storm, but there may be some areas they'll just say we're not going to let you rebuild here. We're not going to insure it. You can't do it. It's just too close.
Wow.
But we do that on the coast too. I mean, people building homes right on the ocean. I mean,
well, they're going to do that. They got to make their money off that. I mean, that's one of the things sick as me. You go to like Panama City, you can't even see the ocean anymore.
Yeah, they've encroached too close.
Well, everybody, about time for Dave to get off here to go to work. It's 7 a.m.
I got to go to work.
Well, y'all
Got a
have a
meeting in
great.
the morning. Drop some kids off at school.
Oh, tell them. Say, I heard to try to convince them that you've heard they're going to try to extend the school day for an hour.
They wouldn't be happy about that.
I believe you. Say, I saw something, just to see how they respond at the end of the day. Start their day off right, Dave.
I'll make that attempt. See everybody tonight on Front Porch Talking.
Yes.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Have a great day, and we'll see y'all tonight. Salute.
Salute.
Well, once again, it's time, my friends, for another meet and greet. We're Southern Fried and nationwide, so hang on to your seat. Look around, here's what I found. I guess you'll never know what you'll see on the Southern Fried Podcast Show.